Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Live. And today is going to be a bit of a special episode, and Mert is going to tell us why this episode is going to be so special.
Yes, this episode will be a double episode, and our sound guy, our third man Ilian, prepared something special for us. So he came up with a list of topics. He didn't tell us yet what topics these are. He just said that some are more serious, some are more funny, and we have everything set up.
I'm going to take turns reading out the question, and then we're going to have a quick discussion about it, and then follow up to the next question if we don't have anything to say anymore.
Exactly. So let's get right into it. Cedric,
Okay, I'll draw the first thing.
to pick the first one.
Yeah. We're gonna scroll. Okay, if I read this correctly, pizza, food, warm or cold. So probably this is about if you would rather eat something cold or warm. And we could start off with pizza. So, Mert, what do you think? Would you rather enjoy a pizza warm right out of the oven or a day later?
I don't know, both are nice. So if I'm like really hungry and I'm looking forward for a
Yeah.
nice pizza for dinner, then of course I prefer it warm. But like cold pizza also sometimes is like really nice,
Yeah.
especially after a night of partying.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. If you like have like leftovers, you wake up in the morning, you go downstairs, and there's like still some pizza slices left. But for me personally, I think it's also really depends on the topic on the pizza itself. So I think some things are just better. Like for instance, I think meat is like I think it's okay to eat it the next day. But there's some vegetables I think if you have them on there, like let's say you want some spinach or broccoli or something on your pizza, I think then I would rather enjoy the warm because I think the next day I think it's just gonna not taste that good anymore.
And would you rather eat the pizza, so the leftover pizza, it was in the fridge for the whole night? Would you then prefer to eat it cold, or would you heat it up again in the microwave?
I'm not a big fan of microwaves and heating up stuff, so I think it would be I would rather eat it like this. But again, I think let's say cold. I think is retrospectively speaking, because I think if I would eat a pizza, I would rather enjoy it like if it's room temperature, so it wasn't in the fridge. So basically from the next day, and it's not in the fridge yet, so it was just left outside, like in the pizza box. Like otherwise, I could not eat like a pizza right out of the fridge.
So room temperature. Yeah,
Exactly,
let's say,
and I would.
let's not say cold.
Yeah.
Room temperature. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I use a microwave to heat up stuff, but I would prefer also eating leftover pizza at room temperature, because I feel like if you put it in the microwave and you heat it up, like the first 30 seconds it's nice, and then either it gets like really soggy or the dough becomes like really hard.
Yeah, and then
So
it's not nice to eat. Yeah, and I think with other stuff like noodles and stuff, for me, noodles I'm not a big fan of eating noodles the next day. I think the only thing I can really say is that my grandmother's cheesecake is awesome. It's the most delicious cake I've ever tasted. But that thing, I don't know why, but the next day it tastes perfect.
Yeah.
Like the same day, I would not enjoy it that much as the next day. So I would rather keep it in the fridge, although it would be very hard to not just get there and get a thing, but the next day and then put it out and then wait for like 10 minutes. Oh my god.
I know,
best thing ever.
I know what you mean, and that's also what I also wanted to mention. For example, also when my mother makes is it like a stew where you put like meat and potatoes and vegetables and cook it. When it's made fresh, then it's nice. But the day after it, so there's some leftover, and you heat it up again in a pot.
Yeah.
It becomes even better.
Yeah.
And that's also what a lot of people say. Like you should cook some of the stuff the day before that, and then let it sit basically, so you can
get all the spices in and stuff.
Exactly.
I think that's most of the time.
And then you can eat it the next day. About the warm and the cold food stuff, I think it's called my brother-in-law, so the husband of my sister.
Yeah, brother-in-law, yeah.
So we have this Turkish soup, and we call it like a yogurt soup.
Okay.
and there's like a bit of yogurt and a bit of milk, I think, in there. And usually, how my parents know it, and therefore how we knew it, was to eat it warm.
Mm.
It's a warm soup. My brother-in-law, so the husband of my sister, he likes to eat it cold.
Okay.
And at first it was kind of strange, you know, but he was like, yeah, you should try it. It's really nice like that, and it is refreshing, so you can eat it as a cold soup in summer when it's like really hot, and it freshens you up. And I tried it once, and it was okay. I would still prefer it warm though.
I think that's the nostalgia though that you ate it as a kid like this. I think that also plays into stuff like this a lot. I
Also,
would say. Yeah.
also true.
Okay, you wanna head to the next question?
Sure. Let me pick the next one. Okay. I think this is a bit more serious question.
Okay.
It
I'm
says,
cold and-
can money buy happiness?
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a good question. So for me personally speaking, again, I think if you look at this question, you always picture yourself now, and then maybe picture yourself with like a lot of money. And I think right now, for me personally, I think most of the people would say 100%. If I have that much money, I'm gonna be happy because I can support my family, blah blah. I can hang out with friends. I can do whatever I want, basically. But I think it's not the case. I think generally happiness, I think for me, is not connected to money. It's just a mindset that you have, and I think money can be beneficial in like making this lifestyle your like how you feel a bit better. But I think just because I don't have that much money now, I know that some stuff I can't do and some stuff I can do. But I think if I would have money, those things that I think there's always something you still cannot do also if you have money. So I think you'll stay at the same with you in mentally. I think you're gonna stay in this have the same mindset still, if you
Yeah.
understand what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What about you?
So for me, I would say I agree to what you said. I think in a similar or in the same way. I would first see how happiness is defined, or how I would define happiness.
Mm.
Of course, money can make a lot of things easier, but it's up to the person himself to decide when that person is happy. You know, if you're someone who is more into materialistic things and likes to have, I don't know, a lot of cars and a big house and whatever, if that's what makes you happy, then sure, money can buy happiness. But for me personally, I think those things that would make me truly happy, money is not the only key to this whole thing. So if you think about being healthy, you know,
Yeah.
if you can be the richest person and you can have a deadly illness and no money can help you, you know, you're gonna die either way. Or if you think about a family, for example, yeah, if you're the richest person and you don't have someone to be with and you don't have
Or a good
family,
relationship with your family. I think money
or
can't really solve that as well.
exactly, money can't solve that. You can't buy love, you know,
Yeah.
you can't buy sincere love. So
I think what you basically want to say, as same as I do, as I think as well, is just that you have problems now if you don't have money, and some of these problems that you probably have right now can be solved with having more money. But the thing is, most people think in the end like, oh yeah, then I'm gonna have less problems. But I'm 100% sure if you get that money now, you're gonna have other problems then, which you just don't have now, and these are maybe then money related. So I
yes,
think it's not gonna be, as I said, like in the end, I think this money can't really buy
yes.
happiness.
So to come back to the initial question, if money can buy happiness, I would say to some extent, or it can make your way to happiness easier to some extent. But yeah, for me, myself, nah, I would say there are more important things than money to be happy, you know. I can I can be also happy with less if other things are right.
Okay, I'll pick another question.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, another different question.
What does it say?
Are there aliens, in brackets, in space among us? Oh.
Okay, interesting. Um, Well, I think so. It could be. I think for sure there are some aliens,
There has to be. There has to be.
whatever. Like, I mean, it's also a question how you define aliens. But there is, I'm sure that there is some kind of living form out there. I mean, if
Green
we,
beings that want to bite your head off.
Mhm.
Green beings that bite your head off.
Yes.
Some out there.
Or maybe humans like we are basically. Maybe there's another Earth we don't know about. But
Mm.
maybe it's just some bugs living there, or some animals, or whatever.
Or a molecule or whatever is
But I'm
digging
sure
thing.
there is something
Bacteria.
else living among us. Honestly, I don't know. Sometimes there are some people you see them on in the media or in real life. You meet them, and you start thinking, and you say to yourself like, yeah, this person
This
can't be
doesn't
from this world.
seem like
you know?
a human.
It's just like, and so I don't know, but yeah, jokes aside, I mean, yeah, since I think there is some kind of living there, I think it's also probable for aliens to be among us.
Again, like in regards to like dinosaurs and stuff already, when you compare it to like to beings now, of course, like crocodiles and stuff, or like, but I mean like, it's just the world just had so much to offer in this whole lifespan, and since the universe is like so big, it's like there has to be some stuff somewhere. If we're just this incy tiny little point on this big map, which we still don't know how big it is, there has to be like percentage wise already. It has to for some reason be something.
There was this podcast and this scientist, I forgot his name, something Tyson, I think. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, I know him. Oh yeah, but
He
also
was also a couple of times in the on the Joe Rogan podcast.
yeah,
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah,
Yeah, and he's an
astrophysicist.
physicist,
Yeah.
and they also talked about space and life out of Earth, basically. And I agreed to what he said about this, and he was like, "We don't know yet, but looking at it scientifically,
Yeah.
it goes both ways. So it might be that there had to be a lot of coincidences coming together for life to be possible on Earth. A lot of circumstances had to be
Yeah.
right. So he's saying we know that there is a probability for this to happen.
Again or somewhere else.
So it happened once.
Yeah.
So in a space which is infinite,
Yeah.
you can say that the probability should be also there for a second Earth to exist, some millions and billions light years away, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, since the universe is so huge and infinite, it might also make the probability even smaller for this to happen again.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I don't know. It's strange. I would like to know, though.
Yeah. I think it would be actually really cool to, or at least it would be great if we could still experience that this could actually happen.
Yes.
I think I would really enjoy.
And I would like to know
Yeah.
what difference would it make? Like, would it be a threat? Would it be some technological leap? Maybe it's gonna be a society which is further developed in some things.
It would just be cool to experience what that interaction would then result in.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can't do anything but wait, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Shall we get to the next one?
Go in there.
Okay. Okay, let's see what the other one says. Driver's license for manual cars overrated / necessary. I think it's about like nowadays I think you're able to do like an automatic
Yeah,
driver's license
exactly. Yeah.
and an old one basically like a manual drive.
Yeah, exactly. You can like normally choose if you want to do it with, so you're able to shift gears and everything, or just for the electric cars. But then, of course, it results in you, or automatic cars, I mean, so it results in you can either drive both or only one thing. I think it's interesting because a lot of my friends, and then like I think nowadays, or at least we still all have, or at least I did one where I can also drive manual as well. I think you did the same,
Yeah.
probably. But and I also have a lot of other friends that all did the manual thing as well. But since then, most of my friends didn't drive manual since then, since they did their driver's license, basically.
Yeah.
In regards to this, I believe then also, well, is it actually necessary? Because how often do you drive a manual car?
Yeah, I get your point. So nowadays it's becoming more popular, or more and more cars have this option to be an automatic drive. I don't know if a driver's license which allows you to drive a manual car is overrated, but I think it is still necessary to know how to operate that car if you
Yeah.
want to drive it, of course. You
Yeah.
know, it, it it would be kind of stupid to learn how to drive with an automatic car and then try to drive a manual car.
Mm.
So in that sense, I would say yes, it's necessary. But some people, they know they will never drive a manual car. They
Mm.
only drive an automatic car. So for them, it's unnecessary. Yeah, for them, it's maybe overrated. And it's also a matter of preference, because I like driving manual cars.
Mm.
And I have a friend who's like, yeah, I prefer automatic ones, especially in the city. I mean, on the highway, it doesn't make a big
Not
difference.
that big of a difference,
But
yeah.
his point that in the city,
Mm.
it's easier, it's more relaxing because you don't have to all the time
Shift.
shift or change gears. However, I say that huge part of the fun in driving a car is switching the gears and changing it and playing and moving the pedals, you know.
Yeah.
That actually makes me feel like I'm really driving a car. I feel like automatics are also nice. I mean, they are also powerful cars, so it's not that they are bad, but for me personally, just this automatic gear takes out a lot of fun of the driving.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
for me, yeah, it's necessary.
Yeah. And I get your point 100%, and I think a lot of also like old timers, you would also probably then they just have shifts, so you have to like use them. So for me
Exactly,
personally, because I'm
yeah.
a big fan of old time cars, I think I would also. And right now the car I have in Germany is also a manual car as well. So since I've did my driver's license, I was of course always using my manual car. But for instance, like a lot of my friends said, since they're just driving automatic now, they would never like really want to go back into
Yeah, because you get
shifting
used to it.
gears, and so they just enjoy automatic more. And I think as well as like if you think about it, if you didn't drive a manual car for like 3 years or 4 years because you did the automatic, I'm pretty sure most of the people will have to get into it again
Yeah.
at first, so they're gonna suck at the beginning as well again. So I think at that point probably you wouldn't really have a difference between a guy who has a driver's license like this but didn't drive for a long while, or like a guy who has an automatic driver's license and does it for the first time, you know.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly. That's why I also think that having like two separate driver's licenses
yeah.
maybe is indeed a bit unnecessary and overrated.
Mm.
Because, like you say, maybe I can have a manual driver's license and drive an automatic car for 5, 10 years only automatic.
Mm.
It doesn't change
Mm.
anything, right? But yeah, I also understand that knowing the essence and the differences of how to use a manual car still is important, because if you don't know how to operate that car and you go into traffic, it can be also
Difficult.
dangerous and
Dangerous as well,
difficult,
yeah.
of course. So yeah, I would say it's necessary to teach the people who will have a driver's license, but to have a separate driver's license, to make that, is that necessary? I don't know.
Yeah, so we both think it's overrated then.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look for another question. Okay, so the next one is. Oh yeah, okay, so basically it says, is it better to feel too hot or too cold?
Is it better to feel too hot or too cold?
To be honest.
Yeah. I think if we're talking about extremes, both.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I don't know. Can I do something about it?
That's
So
the thing. That's the thing.
if
I
I
was
feel
thinking about that as
cold,
well.
can I warm myself up somehow, or if I'm
Yeah.
too hot, the other way around? If we talk about that, then I think I would rather feel too cold.
Exactly same. Exactly the same. And I think we both have the same reasoning for it.
Because I think for me it would be easier to warm
Exactly.
myself
Exactly.
than to cool down when it's really hot. I remember when I first moved in here,
Mm.
the first summer was really hot,
Mm.
and because I only have
Two small windows to
not
open.
so good windows,
Yeah.
two small windows, I can't get really air in here in the summer. So it was really warm and hot, and at one point there was no carpet on the floor yet, so I was just laying on the floor because it was
Because it's
cold,
colder,
so I
yeah.
can cool down.
Yeah.
And if I feel too hot, I don't like moving, and just breathing is too much, you know.
Yeah. I think in my point, like as you said, it's way easier to warm yourself. So for instance, you can put on a jumper, or you can walk a bit, and then or you can sit in front of a fireplace or whatever, or put the heater on. But I think for me, and also so I think it's always, let's put it this way, you can always put more stuff on.
Yeah.
But as soon as you're naked, you can take more off.
More off,
So
exactly.
therefore, if it's way too warm, you have to stand in front of, or go into cold water or something like that, or shower, or go in front of a ventilator or whatever. But in the end, if you think about it, that's going to be it's going to take more time, or it's not that easy as just putting something on.
Yeah.
And so I would definitely choose too cold, 100%.
Yeah. I had to think about this scene in Star Wars where I don't remember which episode it was. Luke is on this frozen planet, on
Yeah.
this ice planet. Is it Mustafa? I'm not sure. And he cuts open this animal
Yeah.
and climbs into it and
Yeah.
sleeps in there to stay
Yeah.
warm.
To stay warm, yeah.
So yeah. Shall we go for the next one?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what else Ilian has for us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another serious one.
You always pick the serious ones, and I pick the weird ones.
Yeah, maybe Ilian
Intentionally made it that way.
made it that way.
You're the serious one, and I'm the funky idiot. Perfect.
So this one says, do you want to have children?
Oh, damn. Wow. Okay. Well, yes. I think
Easy.
that's
Next one.
that's the initial. Definitely, I want to have kids at a certain point. When I want them is definitely not yet, not now. I have other things to do right now. I have a life right now. Maybe I don't need it when I'm like 40. No, I don't know, but definitely I want to have kids, because I think one of my lifetime goals is that I want to give my kids the same stuff that my parents gave me, and I think just to hold up to that goal, I have to have kids. So
Yeah.
definitely, I definitely want kids. Not too many. I think 2 is fine. 1 girl, 1 guy. That's exactly what I want, and I hope that's
Yeah.
what I get. What about you?
Yeah, I would also like to have kids. However, I'm not so sure. On one side, yes, I would like to. On the other side, I mean, I just look at the world and
Wow,
the
now it gets really
society
depressing.
in general, and I'm like, I'm
Do I
not
want to
so
bring a kid
sure.
into this?
But yes, I think with the right person and when the time is right, not now, in like a couple of
Not
years.
for a while.
Not for a while. Let's finish this studying thingy first. In future, I can see myself having kids, yes, and yeah, if the things are right, then I wouldn't say no, basically. But what I'm afraid of is having like difficult child, you know, because sometimes you can be the best parent and your child can still be a
Devil incarnate.
can still be a POS, you know, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't know what to do then, you know, having like a difficult kid.
I think it's also like a challenge. I think like at a certain point you might be like bored. Like you do your job, you do whatever, and then maybe at a certain point you say like, yeah, I think I'm so good in life right now that I could manage this challenge of bringing someone or yeah,
Yeah, definitely a challenge, that's for sure.
teaching like a kid to do what it should do and everything. So I think, and then I think also watching that kid grow up and then also succeed in life. And I think that would be like something you can like be like, yeah, I did this type of vibe. And I think that's like so. I think that could be like really, really, really satisfying to see that in the end, like you brought this child to the world.
Yeah.
Now she lives her own life. She knows she can stand on her, or like he can stand on his both his feet, and then take on this challenge as well. I think that's so rewarding.
Of course, that's
Yeah.
really rewarding. I can imagine that. But yeah, still, what happens if your child is a
Dude,
is
nah.
an, is an
Well, like,
Oh,
yeah. Try to not make that happen for somehow I think it's gonna be we'll manage. I think we
Yeah.
won't be the worst
But
dad.
yeah, I think I would still like to have children sometime.
Yeah. I think it's also something that brings you to more and more together with your significant other. I think that
Yes,
as well,
of course.
or like create
Or
something together, like have like this, yeah. It's like this really like bond. Of course, you have that after marriage, or like some people say that already is a bond. But I think getting a kid and then living together and together like teaching this kid everything I think is the real bond.
yeah,
And again, you can call yourself a family, or you can say that you have family, and not like in form of like I have a dad and a mom and a sister or my siblings, but as in like you are a dad, so you have kids.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'll pick another question. Oh, okay. This is it's not a bad one, or it basically should be a bad one. What would be your weapon of choice in the zombie apocalypse? Meaning it's a bad question if it actually would come to that.
It's a good question though.
Depends on what film and what games you played, I think. Differs.
Yes, I mean there are different kinds of zombies, right?
And zombie
And
apocalypses.
zombie apocalypses are different scenarios. So I would say it depends on what kind of zombie I'm facing.
Yeah.
But let's say you don't know, you just know that there are zombies.
Okay.
I think my first go-to weapon would either be something like a sword
Hmm.
or like a battle axe or something, or like bow and arrow, or is it called a crossbow?
Yeah, crossbow.
Yeah, like a crossbow. I think those would be like my starters, or the
Mm.
ones I would definitely choose, because I think you can protect yourself with them
Yeah.
good no matter what.
Yeah.
They're like good overall, I would say.
I think for me, I would probably pick like
Atom bomb.
I would pick like an M16 with the suppressor and with a knife attached at the front.
Yeah.
So I think that is like for me personally the best, because if you think about it, if you're at home, let's say you're at home, you definitely also have a knife. So you have like at least something that you can take from your house, and I think that's most likely going to be a knife. So you have something for close range. But then I would also pick a weapon that I could also use, like an actual weapon, like a rifle, as I said, M16 maybe. And of course, if you get out of rounds, you can still use it as like a sort of like long distance weapon
Yeah.
at a certain fact. And if you find bullets again, then you can use just reuse those. And if you have a suppressor, of course, then of course it's not going to be loud, which is I think is a benefit, so you don't attract more people. So that would be
Yeah, I get your point.
my set of
But
surviving.
keep in mind, suppressors, yes, they take out a lot of noise, but you're not silent.
No,
So
but I think
especially
a
with
bow and a crossbow is also not silent. You're still gonna
I
hear
mean,
stuff.
Yeah, but it's I
Not
would
as
say
loud
it's
as a.
not as loud as a rifle or a gun. But let's say they're making the same noise. I don't know which one would be easier to repair or to maintain, you know,
Yeah.
would be the bow easier or the rifle? Because for the rifle you have to clean it, you can take it apart, and you have to take it apart, and you have to put it back
You need
together.
bullets.
And you need bullets. So yes, you can find some, but if you're out of bullets, you're out of bullets.
Well, if you're out of arrows, do you like make your own arrows? Because it's gonna be fucking
You
hard,
could,
probably.
I think.
It's hard, but
I
yeah.
don't know. I never tried, but I
And of
think
course, you can reuse them. You can find them and use
exactly
them and
you
use them
can
again.
reuse them.
Yeah.
You can use different kinds of arrows. For guns, it's more difficult because
Yeah.
you have to find that specific kind of
Ammunition.
But I would think, I don't know, I never tried it, but I would think it is definitely easier to try to make some kind of arrows
Then a bullet, yeah.
than a bullet.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, if you have unlimited access to bullets, then of course a gun would be a huge advantage.
I think also if let's say multiple zombies attack you and you have like a bow and arrow, you're way better off with a gun because you can shoot multiple ones.
Yes.
But again, in
Of
retrospect of building stuff, I would then also probably. Let's just hope it will never come to a zombie apocalypse, so we don't have to pick a weapon of our choosing.
I don't know.
I would just stay in the house and like tell Ilian to get some stuff from the outside instead of me going out. Well, yeah. And you wanna pick a next question, Mert?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So this is also more of a fictional question.
Okay.
If you could be in a movie or fictional universe, which one would you pick?
Right now, out of my head, I would probably pick like The Great Gatsby. Not sure if you're familiar with the movie. I think it plays in the 80s era, and he's like really wealthy type of guy. So if I could like go into that universe, but also be like him or like his friend at least, you would like enjoy this really rich, like nice lifestyle. And it's just so it like the movie is so great, and I think like I would love to be in that era, like the music and everything, the way people dressed, just the way how the world worked at that time. Like no mobile phones yet, no social media. I think that's something, at least something I think I would fairly enjoy. Of course, I can't be 100% sure. But yeah, I think that would be something I would definitely go to. I do not want to go into any like of these Marvel universes. I think it's too much stuff going on. Yeah, no, I don't think so. What about you, Mert?
For me, I think I would like to be in the universe of Star Wars.
I thought Star Wars is cool as well, to be honest.
Just thinking about like all the stuff you see in the movies, you know, those little robots and the flying. They're not cars, but I think they're called pod racers.
Yeah, hovering machines.
Yeah, those hovering things. I think having those kind of things and kind of living in that scenario would be cool. Of course, there's a lot of romanticizing into it, you know. It's a movie, I think.
And keep in mind, it's a galactic
exactly,
war, dude.
It's still a war
it's
going
not like
on.
it's just happiness and fun technology.
But also like what you mentioned about the time and the music and how the people dressed, I would also like to live in the time or in the universe of The Godfather. With all the mafia and stuff. For me, it's
of course, you should have to be part of it to like fairly enjoy it. Of course, if you just
yes, I mean it kind of sounds stupid, but
I think you would be a good gangster.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I think so. You could. I would have made the Godfather proud.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, also about the music. So around the 60s.
Yeah, I'm not sure when Miss Gatsby or Great Gatsby was played, but the 80s I think are also really fine. I think it was even before the 80s. But yeah. So I think we're done with question 8 now. So maybe this is a good time to split the part.
Yes, we had a lot of questions, a lot of good questions.
And we have got probably good ones left as well, we'll see.
we'll see what Ilian still has left for us.
In the next episode. So thank you guys for tuning in, and then see you guys next episode.